The British Columbia Institute of Technology acknowledges that our campuses are located on the unceded traditional territories of the Coast Salish nations of Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh.
Good afternoon, listeners. I'm Emma Bolsner here with your 2 o'clock news and sports headlines. With less than a month till Christmas, the VPD is encouraging people to remove valuables from their cars. Reporter Aiden Singh has more on the uptick in break-ins.
VPD data indicates that over the last 8 weeks, 761 car break-ins were recorded, a 22% jump from this time last year. September and October were fruitful months for thieves, with incidents reaching numbers not seen since 2023. On top of that, the New Car Dealers Association of BC reports thefts from vehicles usually spike around the holidays. The NCDA recommends parking in well-lit lots with cameras nearby and hiding anything expensive-looking in the trunk. Aiden Singh, BCIT News.
And in Richmond, a proposed class action lawsuit has now been filed in BC Supreme Court over the recent ruling recognizing the Cowichan tribe's title over certain lands. The lawsuit says the BC and federal governments had long-standing knowledge that unresolved Indigenous land claims threaten the security of property ownership. And new data suggests Vancouver's animation path isn't smooth for many 2D animators. Quinlan Curry reports.
When Sasha moved to Canada to study 2D animation, she expected Vancouver's reputation to translate into a fast start in the industry. She says those expectations changed quickly after graduation.
When I came to Canada, I was told that Vancouver is the best for 2D/3D animation. Like maybe half a year out of college, I was expecting to have a job. So it's been like 2 years.
Sasha says many students enter the program under the impression that studios are actively hiring. Today, work has become more competitive, and entry-level positions are rare. Quinlan Curry, BCIT News.
And the city of Surrey has demolished illegally built structures on 3 sites as part of its effort to combat unpermitted construction. A statement from the city says the court-ordered demolitions included an unauthorized laneway house and an unpermitted extension to a main residence. Mayor Brenda Locke says the moves reflect the city's zero-tolerance stance on illegally built structures. And the president of the Coastal First Nations in BC says an oil pipeline linking Alberta to the province's north coast will never happen. BC Premier David Eby says he has told Prime Minister Mark Carney that it was unacceptable for Ottawa and Alberta to negotiate a possible project without involving the BC government.
Coastal First Nations of British Columbia need to be at the table in these conversations about our province.
And moving to Saskatchewan, Saskatoon City Council has approved an increase in spending on policing. The city plans on spending $158 million on police service in 2026. That's an 8% increase from last year. Council is looking to find savings to reduce a proposed property tax increase of over 7%. And in Ottawa, Prime Minister Mark Carney announced aid measures for the steel and lumber sectors today.
I'm announcing today that we will make it more affordable to transport Canadian steel and lumber across this country by cutting freight rates for transporting steel and lumber interprovincially by 50%.
The Liberal government provided a $1.25 billion support package for the lumber industry earlier this year. In Halifax, a new study suggests the decline in fatal opioid overdoses reported in Nova Scotia early on in the COVID-19 pandemic did not include deaths linked to illicit versions of the drug after 2021. Researchers at Dalhousie University looked at data related to overdoses between 2009 to 2023. The study focused on the differences between pharmaceutical opioids and illicit versions, including heroin and fentanyl. The study also found that illicit opioids became a growing contributor to overdose deaths in Nova Scotia. The opioid crisis in Canada has been devastating, claiming almost 23,000 lives between January 2016 and March 2021, with rates continuing to rise in recent years. And the Canadian government has launched a new alert system warning Canadians of extreme weather events. Environment and Climate Change Canada will use a color-coded system. Orange alerts occur when weather is expected to impact homes, and red alerts will occur only during life-threatening weather events. And south of the border, 2 members of the National Guard, 1 male, 1 female, have been shot and killed in downtown Washington. Their deaths were confirmed by West Virginia Governor Patrick Morrisey. According to D.C. law enforcement officials, a suspect is in custody and the scene is now secure. While addressing troops at Fort Campbell, Vice President J.D. Vance shared his thoughts to the guardsmen and their families.
It's a somber reminder that soldiers, whether they're active duty, reserve, or National Guard, our soldiers are the sword and the shield of the United States of America.
And a judge has dismissed the Georgia election interference case against President Donald Trump and others. This was the last effort to overturn Trump's 2020 election loss. Legal action against Trump was unlikely to proceed while he was in presidency. 14 other defendants will still face charges. And in Hong Kong, fire has been spreading rapidly through apartment buildings. According to multiple media reports, the death toll has risen to 36, with 279 still missing. The cause of the fire is still unknown, but bamboo scaffolding along the buildings are thought to have been a contributor. ABC News chief international correspondent James Longman has more.
Bamboo is very common at construction sites across Asia. So they use this to clad the buildings, and then they cover those buildings in a netting. And it's possible that a fire started at one of these sites on the bamboo scaffolding on one of the buildings, and then just ripped across the building because it's got that netting to carry the fire.
And U.S. Special Representative Steve Witkoff is set to visit Moscow next week. These are the latest efforts from the U.S. since discussing ending the nearly 4-year war between Russia and Ukraine. Specific details of the U.S. peace plan proposal have yet to be released. And now turning to sports. Local sports up first. Families in Vancouver are feeling the impact inflation is causing many children to give up playing certain sports. Reporter Avia Boulay has more.
Sports play a crucial role in a child's development, from building confidence to making friends. But with registration fees and equipment costs on the rise, more parents are struggling to keep their kids involved. Kids Sport is a nonprofit that helps cover those fees for families who need it. Chris Wilson, the executive director of Kids Sport Tri-Cities, says the impact of accessible youth sports goes far beyond the game.
For some, it can be a life-changing event. For others, it can be just a fun experience that, they tried a sport, they didn't really like it, but they met some friends and then it's everything in between.
Kids Sport Tri-Cities' demand for financial support has risen sharply over the last few years, a sign that cost is becoming a real barrier for local families. Avia Boulay, BCIT News.
And in hockey, the PWHL Golden Eyes face off against Ottawa Charge tonight at 7. Vancouver beat Seattle 4-3 on Friday, winning the game in overtime. Abby Roque scored a goal last night against the Montreal Victory 4-0. Head coach Corey Cheverry spoke about Roque's play.
Her goal was outstanding, just to create something with the limited space that she had, but that's the type of player that she is. She's very cerebral.
The Golden Eyes will be playing the New York Sirens next on Saturday. And the Canucks play against the Anaheim Ducks tonight, the first face-off between the teams this season. It's happening without goalie Kevin Lankland, who is away for personal reasons. Instead, Jiri Patira and Nikita Tolopilo will be the goaltenders. And with the upcoming FIFA World Cup games next year, Vancouver is preparing for lots of soccer. The budget has almost tripled than expected, though, increasing to $183 million. Staying in soccer, the top 2 teams in the Champions League standings meet today. Arsenal hosts Bayern Munich in a clash between the leaders in the Premier League and Bundesliga. Arsenal has yet to concede a goal in 4 straight wins. Bayern is still top on the tiebreaker of more goals scored as both teams have the same goal difference. Currently, Arsenal is leading with 3-1. And a driver accused of injuring over 100 people by ramming his car into a crowd of soccer fans celebrating Liverpool's Premier League championship back in May has changed his plea to guilty. Paul Doyle admitted to dangerous driving and multiple counts of bodily harm. The charges relate to 29 victims, ages between 6 months and 77 years old. More than 130 people reported injuries after a Ford minivan plowed into a street packed with fans on May 26th. Police believe the driver acted alone and do not suspect terrorism. No motive has been disclosed. Doyle will be sentenced during a 2-day hearing on December 15th and December 16th. And the Olympic flame began its journey today, kicking off the Milan Winter Games happening in February 2026. The flame will travel through Greece before a December 4th handover to Italy. The flame will then start a 63-day the Flame will then start a 63-day across all 110 Italian provinces ahead of the February 6th games. And with YouTube recently marking 20 years of sports podcasts, Mark Slavich, associate professor at Trinity Western University, shares the changes he's noticed with the way people are consuming sports media with the rise of podcasts.
You have so much more access to everything. And so if you're somebody who is from another country, you can access content from your home country via different media, audio media. If you're local to Vancouver and you've grown up in Vancouver and you've lived here your entire life, and all you want to consume is local media, then you've got that. So that's the great thing about just the transition to audio in all its forms today.
And the conference championship games are at stake at the college football regular season as it closes. The ACC, Big Ten, Big 12, SEC, and the American will get the 5 automatic college football playoff bids that go to highest-ranked conference champions. Each league has 2 teams that will advance as long as they win Friday or Saturday. And in entertainment news,
we have a plan. It's a bit insane.
Yeah, what could go wrong?
No idea, but I think we should find out.
the much-anticipated 5th and final season of the hit Netflix series Stranger Things will debut at 5 p.m. Pacific today. The sci-fi horror series follows a group of friends living in a fictional U.S. town in the 1980s. The final episode of the series will be released on December 31st. And in weather, cloudy this afternoon with a high of 9 degrees, rain beginning overnight. Tomorrow, rain and wind, and Friday, cloudy with a little bit of sunshine. Those are your news headlines for 2 o'clock. Thanks for tuning in and staying informed. I'm Emma Bolsner for BCIT's The Crow.
I would recommend this program for anyone that isn't sure what kind of job they want in media, because you learn everything from like public relations to communications to video editing, like radio, TV. So you do get a lot of experience in all the different fields in media.